Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Apocaflix. Now, I almost said Apocalypse now. I'm Brian. I'm with Gio, and welcome to another Tuesday episode of Now. Jacob is running a little bit behind, but he will be here. Keith, maybe, who knows? But Jake is in Hawaii. So, yeah.
Aloha, Jake.
Yeah, what's the saying? The inmates are running the prison tonight? Yeah.
Right.
That's
here we are.
So, yes, here we are. The inmates have control while the prison warden is on vacation. But yeah, Gio, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. We made it through a rough stretch of just crazy heat weather, like a massive heat wave. You would think we were living in an oven, man. It got as high as 113 up here in Northern California. Dude.
Today was the first day I've opened my sliding glass door in I don't even know how long. Because I've just literally been in an air conditioning bubble.
Right.
Like, it just takes it out of you and you don't want to do anything. You're just miserable. But yeah, no, I'm with you. It was hot
as hell. No exaggeration.
No, literally. It's that 113 I feel like is the hottest I've been up here since I've moved up here. I mean, I'm sure you guys have gotten hot, but that's a record for me, especially from the Bay Area.
Right.
But so we've got a fun little show for everyone today. The show's basically kind of going to be a little bit of a Black Widow dedication episode. We've got we're going to talk about the movie because we all went and saw it, so there will be spoilers. And then we will also be doing a ranked tier list of Black Widow appearing in all Marvel MCU properties. And we are going to go off of her best performance and just overall what we liked the best coming from Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow. But before we get into that, we are going to go ahead and start our movie watching challenge, which, it's easy enough because I was the one that was challenged. So if you didn't already know, the movie that I was challenged to was Basketball. The creators of South Park made a sports movie.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker, yep.
Yes, thank you.
Wait, before you begin. Dun, dun,
oh,
dun.
yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Since I'm the one reviewing, I don't have to make the noise.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, what'd you think, bud?
Who challenged me to it? Jake?
It might have been Jake. I know my movie lost.
Hi, Keith.
Either Jake or Jacob.
Hey.
Keith, you didn't challenge me to basketball, did you?
No.
I know. You have higher standards. So basketball. I had to pay for it, and let's just say I paid for it in many different ways because holy crap. And this is shocking to me. I thought for me, like, I'm the king of crappy movies. Like, out of the five of us, you give someone a crappy movie, like, more than likely, I'm probably going to be the one that comes out of it liking it. And it's just,
It's a silly
I love South Park, by the way. I've seen every episode of South Park. Okay. So I thought for sure that I would go into this loving it. Yeah, not so much.
Man. I wonder if you would have seen it at the time. I mean, I know you were probably a kid when it came out, but because I because believe it or not, I saw it at the time. I haven't seen it since, so I'm sure I don't know how I would feel, but I thought this movie was pretty funny when I saw it.
It has its moments for sure. It definitely like like I said, it has its moments that it got me. Like it definitely had me like laughing a couple times. But overall I was just going like, oh my God. Like they are really trying to push the stupidity of of funny.
Yeah.
There were definitely some stuff that nowadays would get you like, well, maybe not them because they get away with murder as it is. So like the one that made me laugh was the San Francisco Fairies is the team.
Yes.
And so their mascot was the ferry ship, but they had guy cheerleaders and just like all that stuff. What else? What was some other stuff that got me?
How'd you like the creativity of the psych outs?
I'll say this. I wouldn't mind playing the game. Like the game itself.
It does.
I was like, okay, like this could be kind of fun. I suck at basketball. Well, I'm not going to say I suck at basketball. I'm not great at basketball. It's not my top sport, but I would definitely. Hi, John and Johnny.
Hey.
I would not say that I am like the greatest, but I think it would be fun. I like that it's a lazy man's sport. Like they definitely kept saying like, yeah, us out of shape like losers are great at this. So yeah, I mean, look at them. Although I think it's funny that she's on the like cover and she's not even in it that much. Like she's just kind of there as like,
Jenny,
hey, look, there's a pretty person. Yeah, isn't Jenny McCarthy? Isn't that her name?
Jenny McCarthy, yeah.
Yeah. She barely even speaks other than to make sexual double entendres. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't the worst movie. It wasn't like I didn't come out of it going like, this is the greatest thing ever. I do wish the sport was real because I would definitely want to try it. I think it would be interesting. Trying to think if the poor little friend that just gets messed up anytime he does anything.
Oh, Squeak.
Yes. You just like the hot tub or anything. Just it was definitely a wild movie. I think the hardest part for me is hearing their voices and them not being their South Park characters. Like, I mean, like there's definitely a part where he one of them's starts voicing Cartman. And that like that's on purpose, but like I like the whole entire time I forget which one it was. I kept hearing just basically Stan Marsh's voice. Like that's all I could get in my head was just that's the dad's voice. So but yeah, overall, am I glad I saw it? Yeah, I can check it off my movie list. Am I ever gonna watch it again? Probably not. But yeah, have both of you seen it?
There you go. Yeah, I saw it early on. It was that movie that we probably shouldn't have watched as kids, but we did anyway.
Yeah,
and it was just hilarious. I mean, like, yeah, you could probably say some of the stuff wouldn't be okay today. You know, as time keeps going on, the times keep changing. It gets harder and harder to do comedy. But those guys who also did South Park, as you've said, they just don't care.
No, they get away with murder.
They would do it, and there's a certain level of appreciation to that. The concept of it, basketball. I mean, it's stupid, but you know they make fun out of it, and so you know, for myself, there's a nostalgia factor. Does it get better with time? I mean, as we get older, you know, it's just like. but heavily nostalgia for me.
Fair. Keith.
Well, yeah, I saw it at home or like on video, but at the time, shortly after it was in theaters. But I will disagree slightly, Gio. This is another discussion. It's not hard to do comedy. It's not getting harder to do comedy. There's plenty of good comedy out there. There's a long list of very funny things, very funny shows. It was a good place. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, all kinds of stuff that's funny. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Comedy's different. Comedy it evolves over time, like a lot of art forms. There's stuff that was funny in the 1940s that we wouldn't find funny now, just because there's stuff that's going to be funny 100 years from now that we think is hilarious. It's not funny, not going to be funny in the future. So comedy just evolves. But these guys, like you said, they did seem to get a pass on certain things just because they went after everything.
They still do. I mean,
they still do. Yeah, absolutely.
Still going.
Yeah. So there's ways to do it. And there's, like I said, they're not hurting anyone. They make fun of themselves as well. So.
They definitely do that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of this movie, I think, is definitely was a lot of it tongue in cheek. They knew they were making a silly movie. But
yeah.
But
it did feel like they were just like, let's see how ridiculous we can make a movie.
Absolutely. And they're making fun of sports and the way sports is,
that part at the beginning where they're like, we're going to make a league where the teams can't move. And then,
yes.
And they literally have a map that shows all the movements. Yeah. That part made me laugh pretty good because they're like, the Oakland Raiders moved to Los Angeles, and then they moved back. And I don't think anyone in Los Angeles ever even noticed they were there. But I was just like, damn you. So, that part made me laugh because I was like, that is really true. So, but yeah. All right. Let me go ahead and bring the freshly made bed person. Mr.
Hello.
Jacob Bartley. Hello.
How's it going? Sorry for my tardiness.
Oh, no, you're fine. I feel like I've already asked. Isn't your blanket Baby Yoda?
It is Grogu. Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, we were going
as is mine.
Oh, yours is cute. Yours is like very Baby Yoda. There. God, you out
there.
Timing.
Somebody.
Hello, Rachel. We've been waiting so that way we could take a moment to appreciate you and wish you a happiest of birthdays, our 6th. I've got the number right this time, not 5th. 6th member of Apocaflix. I'm not trying to get rid of Keith as much as you guys try to pretend that I am. But we just want to take a moment in our show to wish Rachel a very, very happy birthday because she was our first mod. Honestly, it felt like our first real supporter.
Are we gonna sing her happy birthday?
No, we'll get
I don't know about that. That's true. You would, and I don't have a good voice either. But happy birthday, Rachel! Thank you so much.
Yeah, they do. They take it.
They really do.
They do. If you sing happy birthday,
we'll get a copyright claim.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So, yes, our 6th member there. Rachel, thank you for everything you do. You are the best. Our first mod. So we just want to take that second. All right. Let's get back. So yes, movie watching challenge. Since it was my turn, I guess, to watch a movie, I get to pick the person, and I chose the gentleman underneath me right now, Gio Ramos. And he has been challenged to 3 movies. Before Are you polling or are you picking?
Let's go with a poll. I picked last time. Let's go with a poll this time.
Okay. So the movies that Mr. Geo has been challenged to for his movie watching challenge is LA Confidential.
Hey, that's that one guy who used to be in Hollywood.
Yeah. Shaun of the Dead.
Can't believe I haven't seen this one.
Yeah. And To Die For.
Oh, let me guess who chose that one.
Don't ask me.
You'll never guess.
Yeah, I feel like this one might be pretty easy for you to figure out who picked what.
Are they only from us three or?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So.
Are ones from Jake?
No, Keith didn't get his good time today.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to get mine.
No worries.
Yeah.
So that is the 3 movies that you have been challenged to, my good sir. Any predictions on which one's going to win?
Probably this one. Edgar Wright, Joe Cornish, I think his name is. I mean, that's a classic movie right there. That is a classic, especially in the zombie genre right there. So I think that one will win.
Trilogy,
and I will start preparing.
What is it called again? The trilogy?
The
Cornetto trilogy.
Cornetto.
And it comes from this movie.
It's the gun, isn't it?
I forget.
Or the bar?
No, I know what it is.
Ice cream.
It's I didn't want to ruin it for Geo, but yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. So those will be.
That's not even the movie he's watching for sure. So we'll see.
Yeah.
This is the first one in that line, though, right?
Or is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it?
No, this came out first. Okay. This came out first.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that poll will be up probably tomorrow morning. As soon as Jake is able to post it from Hawaii via carrier pigeon. Mr. Jacob, you get the next little shebang.
Absolutely. So if you haven't seen it on our channel yet, you should definitely go check out one of our other shows that we do called The Casting Table. Is our very own chance at being casting directors and choosing some of our favorite actors to play our favorite characters. So for example, we take a character from, let's say, maybe Lord of the Rings lore, and we say, okay, we're going to choose this character, and each of us are going to choose a few different actors who we think could fit this role in our eyes, and we present why we think they would do a great job in that role. Sometimes you're just choosing your favorite actors. Sometimes you're choosing great actors who you think would do well, but maybe would never even take the role. It's a lot of fun. We've done tons of characters, all from the DC universe, from the Marvel comics, from Star Wars, even to Power Rangers and crazy stuff like that. And we got a really cool one coming up with our next episode, and that'll be Zatanna from the DC comics. We anticipate, well, maybe she's already cast in a DC movie. I don't know. Or not. Maybe the character's already going to be in a DC movie that I'm not aware of. I'm sure Gio would know. But either way, we should be seeing her soon. So we are going to do a casting table episode for her. So don't forget to check that out. And you can check out the playlist on our YouTube channel.
Yes. We also... Wait. Oh, no. Never mind. That's later. Yes. Yeah. Don't listen to me. But yeah, check out Zatanna casting table, because that could be an interesting one. I kind of want to be on that one.
I'm down to do it, but I don't know much about her, to be honest.
I don't either. I just noticed that she's a magical.
She's like kind of like Doctor Strange in a sense.
She's the Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Are we getting a Zatanna movie?
We are getting an HBO Max series.
That is fantastic. That's why you're here, Gio.
Apparently, I don't know. I mean, they announced so much crap to this day still. Let's not get into it.
I'm still waiting on Blue Beetle. That's the one I wanted.
Yeah.
So
We'll see. We'll see.
but yeah, so we are going to move into. Sorry, I just got hiccups. We are going to move into our first main topic, if you will, and that is spoiler talk for Black Widow, a movie you may have heard over the last week, possibly. It is the newest Marvel MCU movie to be released, this time released on Disney Plus or in theaters. We all checked it out in theaters. I'm sure some of us probably have watched it more than once. I'm looking at the man in the salmon colored shirt. So yeah. So again, this is spoiler talk. I really want like a spoiler like pop up or like a
Spoiler, like a red light thing.
yeah, like spoilers. Be warned. So yeah. So if you don't want this spoiled, come back a little later and see if we're still talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about this movie. What?
I mean, okay, so we're now in spoiler. Is there anything really to spoil? I mean, we know what happens to the character.
Hold on.
know
Yes,
that-
there's things to spoil in every movie. Yes.
Another character will be in other MCU projects.
I would say there's two things that you could spoil. Taskmaster and the end credit scenes. Other than that, I agree. There's
Taskmaster's in this movie?
Yes.
We'll get into that. But yeah, the reveal of Taskmaster and the end credit scene.
Hold on.
Does
a second,
anyone
real quick?
What?
So, you guys, all right, first of all, treat this movie with some respect, all right? It is just as valuable and as any MC movie coming out. This, just because the main character, we know the main character is not going to die, doesn't mean there's not spoilers or stakes. Every movie with the main character as the title of the movie, for the most part, like 99% of them, the main character doesn't die in the movie. So I hate that argument that, oh, there's no stakes because we know she lives through this. That's a BS argument to me.
I agree. Let's first, before we get into it, let's just give our overall what we thought. Who wants to start? Salmon?
I'm actually glad you're hosting, Brian, because I wanted to save my energy for this. I'll just say, like, this movie is not perfect. It has issues for sure. And my two main issues are the villain, Dracoff, is garbage. And that you can smell the scent of him prevents you from killing him. That's like, I can't believe they put that in the movie. Like, I honestly can't believe Kevin Feige approved that plot point. The special effects are maybe some of the worst I've seen in the MCU in certain scenes. That it is not like, I don't know. They had so much time to finish this. Like, for example, when Taskmaster like hits her car for the first time with the missile or whatever, and it looks so fake when the car's tumbling. And I say this because other MCU movies look absolutely 100% perfect. Like Infinity War and Endgame, they all look absolutely 100% perfect special effects. And I don't understand how they go from that to, like, they had some issues in Black Panther 2 with the special effects. This movie, like, half the special effects look questionable to me. And to me, that affects my viewing experience. That it happens in quite a bit of movies. Black Panther happened in the first Wonder Woman for me. Like, it ruins my experience a little bit. So other than those two things, so I've seen the movie twice. Other than those two things, I borderline love this movie, to be honest, because I realized something. The first time I saw it, I was really annoyed with the villains. And I realized something the second time I watched it. The villains don't really have any screen time. They barely have any screen time. This movie's not about the villains. Mm-hmm. It's about Natasha and her fake family, but mainly her sister and then her father and her mother. I mean, obviously they're not biological, but that's what this movie's about. And if you pay attention to a majority of the MCU, they've done that throughout the years. Recently, they've put a lot of emphasis on their villains. There have been some great ones. Thanos, Killmonger, Loki's always been great. But a lot of the movies, the villains are just there to prop up the hero in most of the MCU movies. And I think we've always said that. And so this is kind of getting back to that in a way. And I was watching the movie, I was like, wait a minute. I was expecting to be like annoyed with the villains, but they're barely in it. It's just the Red Room is the villain, basically, in a way. That what the Red Room represents and what it put her and her family through, that's the villain. And she was going to take it down. So those are a few things that I wanted to say. But also, Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, is a freaking badass. Like, has no superpowers, and she's diving down, doing a free dive with all this debris. And obviously this is a movie, like a fictional world. She wouldn't survive that in real life. But like, she is a straight up badass out there, like fighting with no superpowers. Like if Cap was free falling like that, he would be all awkward. Like he would survive, but he wouldn't be able to like ride the debris like that. And he'd be all like holding on or something like that. Like even like most characters, they wouldn't be able to do that free fall like that. So she's a straight up badass. And then also Florence Pugh as Yelena is probably my favorite introduction to a character when it's not their main movie. I absolutely loved her. So those are just some quick thoughts of mine.
Okay. Quick thoughts. Mm-hmm. Keith, do you want to give yours?
Yes. Yes, I did. And look, the Tufts movie was very good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't really know what to expect. I trust Kevin Feige and the folks at Marvel Studios for the most part. For the most part, the movies are good. Minus one or two here that are kind of, for me, less than average. But and even those are probably not terrible. Just ones that I don't like. But for the most part, their movies are an average or above. So I figured it would be okay. But I actually wound up really liking it. And listen, Jacob, you hit it right on a thing. That's the thing I've been hearing about this movie a lot. Listen, Kevin Feige said that years ago. Like it's not about our villains. Our movies are about our heroes. So I get it. I get what you're saying. But I kind of expected that, at least, because like they can't have the story because of where it's set. They can't do anything too world changing or too, because there's a whole lot of time in between where this movie kind of starts and ends, and then where we pick her up in Infinity War. And so this is like a little side thing that just happened on her way to, trying to link back up with Captain America and the other fractured Avengers. And my only, I would say, criticism, or kind of a nitpick, I don't know, I guess this movie should have been done years ago. Like I don't understand.
I do agree with that. It should have came out right after Civil War. Honestly, I think it would have been received not literally right after, but I'm saying if they made this same exact movie, it should have came out after Civil War. Yes, exactly. This exact movie, or just a Black Widow movie. Period. I don't know why it took them this long just to get to it. They could have done it years ago. They could honestly. This should have been done at or around the time of Avengers. Probably not necessarily before, but definitely after. Maybe after Winter Soldier or something. Somewhere in that range of 12 to 14 to 15, somewhere in that time frame, in my opinion. But I mean, I don't know. I still don't really understand what took so long to get to this. And considering what this movie is, and like I said, there's nothing to. It would have obviously been different then. It wouldn't necessarily told this story, and we wouldn't have got that post-credit scene either.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's definitely true. So, they made it fit where they could, and so. But other than that, my only other criticism, if I had any, is this movie. It's basically Winter Soldier, which is not a bad thing. I shouldn't say that as a criticism because I love Winter Soldier. It's my number one MCU movie. But it's Winter Soldier. There's a lot of story things, a lot of things that happen that are right out of like exactly Captain America: Winter Soldier. Which again, I said criticism, and I now that I think about it, it's not a criticism because I do love Winter Soldier, but they did kind of just do a lot of that stuff again, and maybe that's because of their kind of hands are kind of tied with the character, with the time frame, and with what happens to the character later. There's stuff that they introduced that can definitely come back later. We have no idea. We'll talk about Taskmaster. We'll talk about obviously the whole thing with Dreykov. It's just I didn't mind him. He's just kind of a generic villain. Really nothing to I had no idea didn't know Ray Winstone was in this movie. But yeah, I thought it was really good.
Gio?
Okay. So many of you who have been watching these nows and most videos where I'm featured in or I'm, talking, being a part of, how I've felt about this movie, right? I mean, I'm just tired of Disney doing that thing where they kill off the people, then they give them a movie right afterwards. However, as I promised, I left all my doubts, all my concerns at the door. I sat down and I saw the movie. And I got to say, I was pretty impressed by what I saw. It's not bad. It's better than I thought it was. I thought it would be. Surprisingly, a lot of emotion, a lot of heart in there. To what Jacob and Keith have said, you do get the MCU Marvel mishaps that you get in these solo movies. And yes, the timing should have been a little bit better, but we'll get to that when that time comes. Overall, though, I got to say I was impressed, and I am actually looking forward to seeing it again.
Wow.
So, yeah, those are my quick thoughts.
For me, I would say that this is probably middle of the pack MCU for me. That's how I've been kind of describing it. That middle range where it's not in the oh my God, this is amazing, you have to see this, but not definitely not this is poo-poo. You don't need to watch this. Certain things, I mean, if anyone knows me at this point, you know that I'm a villains person. And yet I completely agree with the fact that this is not supposed to be about the villains. It's supposed to be about the characters that we know, basically Black Widow. But we'll just get straight into it. I hate what they did with Taskmaster. I absolutely hate it. It's the biggest.
What do you hate?
I hate the fact that they took this character from the comics and I think it was Jake or someone told me what Coy Jandreau said is they Deadpooled him in X-Men Wolverine. Or not Wolverine. X-Men
Origins.
Yes.
Wolverine.
They Deadpooled this character. This Taskmaster to me is a character that can be around, and I'm not saying this character can't, but he's a character that could be around for a very, very long time. He is a pain in the ass mercenary character that pops up all the time. I do not see personally this character doing that going forward. I could see her, and again, spoilers, I can see her possibly coming up somewhere in the future, but Taskmaster is a smart ass, says quirky one-liner type things, kind of in the lower end vein of Deadpool. And I also absolutely hate the fact that her mask is it helps her memorize things. I think it should just it should just be easy, like not easy for her to memorize, but like that should be part of her shtick.
Well, the original Taskmaster in the comics, it's like an ability of his, right?
Yes.
Like it's not a robotic thing. So
his mask is not computerized.
Yeah. So I think they were saying that's how she can do it. She doesn't have abilities. That's just she's a cyborg, basically.
I mean, you can easily just say that she's an extremely trained Russian spy, spider, whatever that memorizes things. It's nitpicky, I know, but like that's what Taskmaster is known for, being able to memorize the fighting techniques of his enemies,
the fight patterns,
her enemies, and just be able to destroy them. I loved when she did the Wakanda claws. She did a bunch of Spider-Man moves and Cap moves. Like that stuff was great. Loved it. Loved that part of Taskmaster. I just don't see this character going forward, evolving into like, Taskmaster. I just don't see it. I'm sorry.
Well, she's not even a villain anymore. No. Like,
well, Taskmaster's not really a villain.
We don't know that.
Kind of. He just.
Well, he works for himself basically.
Yeah, he's a mercenary.
But still, most of the time he's doing bad stuff that puts him on the Avengers radar.
Yes.
Most of the time.
She can definitely still be an antagonist because you realize, and for those who, it's a spoiler alert, so everybody's watching, I'm assuming the scene, but obviously, the character of Taskmaster is the daughter of the big bad in this movie, was he General, whatever, Dreykov, whatever he is.
Dreykov, yeah.
Yeah. And played by the great Olga Kurylenko, by the way, from Quantum of Solace. But yeah, it's Rachel, just very good. It's just like what we saw in Civil War with Iron Man's helmet. When he was fighting Captain America and said, let's copy his copy. It's exactly the same thing.
Analyzing his fighting tech sequence.
Right. And then, so, but I get what you're saying. I totally get it. I understand. I look at it like, it's a character, because the character is an antagonist, sort of like a secondary-ish villain, that kind of just shows up, to mess up whoever he's, just show up to get in the way, like a Crossbones, or like.
That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking that he was going to be like another Crossbones, but last longer in the MCU.
Well, she still might. Like a Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Or like a Crossbones, like I said.
But I got the implication.
Remember, she can still be pissed off.
I got the implication that after the brainwash stuff was gone, that like she doesn't want to do harm to anybody anymore. Like that, but they didn't necessarily say that.
Here's my thing.
I thought it was implied.
Here's my thing. Someone tries to kill you. I don't care what power it is. I'm still going to be pissed off that person tried to kill me.
That's what I was getting ready to say. And we still might get that. Okay. You still could see Natasha at some point. Well, actually not, because but in between.
Maybe she goes after Yelena one day. Who knows?
Still could be pissed. Or the Black Widows, she could be pissed off at somebody for, hey, you tried to kill me, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I get it. Or there could be another version of the character or something. Who knows?
Yeah. We don't have too much time because we got to get to our tier. Anyone else want to point something that they really want to talk about? I mean, that end credit is kind of a big deal.
The opening was awesome. I will say it was an incredible opening scene, in my opinion, with the flashback and the whole thing in Cleveland.
There credits with the cover of Nirvana.
Yeah, I actually loved that, especially after watching it the second time. I think the whole. You're probably referencing the whole opening up until we see Natasha in 2016.
Yes. Yeah. I thought that was pretty awesome. I think the scene when they're at the little store there, and and she's asking Yelena, Florence Pugh, Yelena is asking her about why do you do this like when they land?
Yeah.
Basically asking the superhero landing. I was bellowing, like I don't know if that's the right word. I mean, I was laughing, like this laugh came out of me in the theater. That's one of the funniest things that they've done in any of these movies.
So
I thought that was hilarious.
Since Keith brought it up, I'll mention it. Like Yelena throughout this whole movie, I absolutely love her. She's like the little kid of the family that never shuts up, and if you notice, she's talking all the time. And I think I like that because her and Natasha are very different. It made me realize Natasha's a very like laid back, soft spoken, like person, and she's a thinker. Natasha's always just sitting there thinking, says very little words, and is very soft spoken. But everything she says though is meaningful, and it's like her little sister just never stops talking, and I thought that was pretty cool. And and it was kind of sad though, like when she when they're at the dinner table and she's like, it was all real to me. And so to her, she was like a little child, had no idea what was going on when they were spies in the States. So that was cool. Though she didn't know though. She said, you guys never told me. Yeah. I said she didn't.
Said that. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Natasha knew. But the posing thing was hilarious. The way they bring it up, and then when she does it at the end, and she's like, "Oh, that was disgusting." I love that. Love it so much.
I like when she like does the hair flip. You know, she does that. And I'm like, oh my god,
so good.
Yeah.
I think
I will say. I was just gonna say, Florence Pugh arguably sometimes steals this movie away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was gonna say the same thing about David Harbour.
Okay. He annoyed me after a while.
Really?
I kind of started to get tired of him. I felt like he was just like getting into the territory of like forced funny.
I could see that, but oh man, I thought he was great.
I agree with you. Great. I thought he was pretty funny. Like the first time, I was kind of with Brian, like, oh come on. But then when I watched it the second time, I was like, you know, everything he's saying is like funny because he's like teasing. He's like, oh, Natasha, all business, like that type of stuff, like is just funny to me.
Yeah. Anything else specifically that we want to talk about?
Gio, you got anything?
I mean, in your guys' opening remarks and up till now, you kind of named a lot of it. You know, I got over the constant name drops of the Avengers and Captain America and the Avengers. Like, it felt like every other scene, they mentioned that like twice. And I'm just like, I get it. Stop treating your audience like they're dumb, okay? We know where this movie is set. We know the situation that Natasha Romanoff is in, and they just kept going on and on. But other than that, look, I can't believe I'm saying this. I am happy that Scarlett Johansson got her movie. I don't put the timing of the movie on her or director Kate Shortland, who I thought did a good job directing this movie. That's on Kevin Feige and Marvel. You know, just the fact that we got a Captain Marvel movie before ScarJo got a Black Widow movie doesn't sit right with me. Especially now that we've seen the story and we've seen the movie. But yeah, you guys touched on Taskmaster. My thing is, you know, the marketing. We saw quite a bit of Taskmaster in there. He has a great opening fight, she has a great opening fight where she's mimicking Natasha's moves on the bridge. And then she follows Natasha and Yelena into a tunnel, and then we don't see her again for like another 45 minutes to
she was barely in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like honestly thinking about it, I think her father was in it more than she was. Like the character of Taskmaster.
Oh, you mean
Maybe because
Ray
that scene at the end is
Yeah.
long. That scene
Like-
where is super long, where he
Yeah.
shows up. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
at this point,
I thought.
Go ahead.
Sorry, man.
No, you're fine.
Delay on but I thought what it was going to be the reveal. I just for some reason I thought at first she was going to be a clone of Natasha, and that's why she copied or at least all her stuff.
Oh, you mean go the
Oh,
long
I'm so
route?
glad they didn't
I
do
was
that.
like, oh boy. Yeah, no, I know.
Or she had a twin
like,
sister, biological sister this whole
or
time.
something, right?
I would have done this.
Yeah, that's what.
Goodbye.
I had a split second where.
Oh my goodness.
I had
So
a split
I think
second where that's
what they
I
were
thought.
trying to go for was a good idea. Like this little girl she thought she killed ended up becoming Taskmaster. Like that's a good idea, but I don't think it was executed well.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, before we wrap this part up, that end credit scene, we see the grave, which is devastating. Like that, I think honestly, that really was the first time where it really
We never saw a funeral for her or nothing.
No.
So
that was the
this
first time
it.
like it really hit me that this character is dead. Like
Mhm.
Tony's send off in the river or lake, river, or whatever. You see the arc go out. That is essentially his grave. That hits you, okay? Seeing her great headstone, like I was just like, oh, damn it. Like that, this character really is dead. And then we see Yelena crying over it, and only for Val to show up and.
Well, Brian, you and I talked about this outside of theater when Yelena whistles, and we thought for a split second that Natasha, you were going to hear another whistle back.
Yes, I was waiting for it. When she whistled, I was like, no way. And then just like Jake and I both, when that jet lands, and we were both anticipating Captain America to walk out, and it wasn't. It was her friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Val shows up and basically flat out says, Hawkeye's the one that killed your sister.
Yeah, is responsible for her death. Yeah.
Yeah. First, that is like, whoa, because how does she know that? We don't know how long it's been really afterwards. Like she wasn't there, so how does she know? And then, I mean, we already know that she's going to be in the Hawkeye show. Now it seems to be we know why. Thoughts on that end credit?
Well, clearly she's working for Val / Elaine / Veep. She's been working for her. So they're still. We wonder. Just going back to Falcon and Winter Soldier, are they setting up either the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers, or a combination of the two, or a variation or a combination of the two?
Gio, imagine her fighting next to U.S. Agent.
I want that so bad because they're both not fully good, and I kind of like that.
You're right.
Gio?
Right.
Wait, who's not fully good?
He's saying U.S. Agent and Yelena.
Yelena.
Well, Yelena was strictly because she was under the spell, whatever that.
But they didn't always have that though, because it came up sometime after Natasha left, and obviously, so she was an assassin and doing stuff before she got brainwashed.
But see, I was more excited for Val being there and her role. Once again, us getting an indication that her role is going to increase in the MCU. The Hawkeye thing, while that was cool, you're not selling me that she's going to be a big problem for that very long for Hawkeye.
Oh
No.
no,
They'll
She's not
probably
much
fight.
They're gonna
one or
fight
two
and they're gonna team up.
episodes,
Yeah.
and then he will get to
I'm down
explain.
for that too.
She'll get to know her sister Natasha through Clint Barton and all the stories that Clint is going to tell her. And then she's going to realize that, Val is not a good person. And so
That's it. That's
You think
it.
she's gonna learn that Val's not a good person right off the bat from that?
I mean, not right
Well-
off the bat, but like,
Well, not off the
I mean, before the end of Hawkeye season 1, guaranteed, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It
Because-
could be a
because,
whole,
you hit it
whole
right.
series, and it could be the season finale where she realizes
Nah,
Clint wasn't really responsible. Could be.
That's a Gio hit that right on the head though. That's a thing that's easily solved with a conversation. I can't see them stretching that out for.
No, it should
6
be.
episodes.
Should be.
But
Right?
it wasn't
Like-
bad. I don't
like
think
GDS
you're right.
should be.
I mean,
You're
I kind of
right,
hope she
but-
sticks around with Val for a little bit because Val seems to be forming some type of Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stack
Because not only
that
is-
deck a little bit more for me because
Yeah.
who is it right now that she has? U.S. agent.
Just U.S. agent right now.
Is it just
And I
U.S.
mean-
agent?
Yeah.
We
I thought it was one more.
assume maybe General Ross will get involved somehow, but
Probably.
Yeah.
Abomination probably will be
The
too.
Abomination, U.S.
About it.
agent. I could see maybe Agatha. Who
oh,
knows?
what's him? Zemo.
Stop it.
Or
Oh,
Agent,
Zemo.
Agent
That's who it was.
Mhm.
Zemo,
Yeah.
and maybe Agent Carter,
Oh,
Sharon Carter, maybe as well.
God.
So I love this because like even if it's just for an episode or two, like to see her hunting down Hawkeye and then probably Kate Bishop's going to be involved too, like that's going to be awesome. But
The best
also
part is you're never gonna know when she's coming. She's just gonna literally just drop.
I want
it
them
and
to
start
treat
fighting
her like
Hawkeye.
an assassin and they like, oh my God, who's that? And like they're scared of her for like the
She's
first two
literally just
episodes.
gonna drop in out of nowhere
Mhm.
and just start attacking them.
That's what I want it to be. And then I'm holding back, honestly, my excitement for the Elena character. Like I love her so much, and I'm all for like any continuation or expansion of that character in the MCU. All in on that.
I mean, that's fair. Any other last thoughts before we wrap it up here about the Black Widow movie?
As great as Yelena is, it kind of takes away from this being ScarJo's like definitive solo movie. And while the Winter Soldier, you could make a case for that because they're similar in movies, it was still very much Captain America's. Whereas in this one, I felt Yelena had a much bigger arc than Winter Soldier had in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Personally, I think
Winter
that
Soldier,
they're-
yes.
But this was
Right.
also the first time we've ever met Yelena, and that we already knew Bucky
Right.
too.
Well, I would counter. Yes, I can see what you're saying. I would just counter by comparing it to Winter Soldier. She's the Natasha version. She's Natasha to this, like what Natasha was to Cap in that movie. And I think it. If you look at it like from the standpoint, just for me, look at it like it's definitively, and to use the word you said, definitively a solo movie for her in the sense that she didn't need any of the other Avengers or anybody else to show up and help her. She could handle the stuff on her own. And I say on her own, obviously her and her sister and her two parents. But yeah, it's not like you're not like, okay, well, she's got to get Steve Rogers on the phone, show up and help her, or she's got to get Tony Stark on the phone. If somebody even mentions, I think Yelena even said, "Why don't you call Tony Stark?" And she's like,
Says we're not
talking right now.
on best terms right now. Well, and
Yeah.
look, this movie was 100% a way to introduce Yelena and make sure like they put her on, like get people excited for her. They 100% use this movie for that. But if it wasn't solely if it wasn't focused on Black Widow, then see, Black Widow's the one to confront Dreykov, and it's just her and Dreykov in that room. If they wanted to, Yelena would have been right there with her if they didn't want the focus to be on Natasha. And also, after Yelena blows up the helicopter or whatever, she's eliminated from the fight after that. It's just about Natasha from that point on. So while I agree for the most part, I think the way they ended it made it mostly about Natasha.
I'm curious to see with them leaving the actual Budapest thing out, which that also pissed me off. If they eventually try to tell that actual story of her joining S.H.I.E.L.D. because of what happened in Budapest. Like, so basically her versus Hawkeye for this movie and joining. Like, if that option is still on that table, like, we know that she was bad. Something happened in Budapest. She was defeated essentially by Hawkeye.
Had a chance to kill her.
Yeah, and joined
I like
S.H.I.E.L.D.
this. Yeah, I like this comparison about Yelena because this was the first time we met Sam, so that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
So, anyways, that's our spoiler review for Black Widow. Fortunately, I would love to hear Jake's thoughts, so maybe we'll get his in the future because he did seem to like it quite a bit. But we are going to go ahead and go into our tier ranking. This is going to be essentially a tier ranking of all of Black Widow's performances in movies. But right before we get to that, Gio, you want to give us a little plug action?
Yeah, so Marvel Rewind will be happening tomorrow, and we are covering the last episode of Loki, the season finale, which drops in about 4 hours on Disney Plus here in California, West Coast. So after you've seen Loki and know who is behind the curtain with the TVA and everything that's going on, come back and get our reaction on Marvel Rewind. We go live Wednesdays at 7:30 Pacific time. So check that out. And then on Fridays, Fandalorian Club is back. That's right. Jake, Brian, and myself, we dive into the latest episode of The Bad Batch and talk everything regarding characters, cameos, plot, etc. It's pretty interesting because I haven't seen as much Rebels or read as much Star Wars novels as they have. So you kind of get an interesting discussion from two very different perspectives. And so check out Fandalorian Club, whether you're a diehard Star Wars fan or, a former diehard Star Wars fan who just can't keep up. It's still, come check us out.
We're there to help.
At 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. All right. Here is our tier ranking of Black Widow and her movies. Let's see. So we have S is what? Superior? Isn't that technically what it is? Superior, A, B, C, and D. And of course, on the bottom, we have all of the appearances of Black Widow, which would be starting from Iron Man 2, Avengers, Captain America Winter Soldier, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and of course, finally, Black Widow. So we are going to just go straight down this order. Let's see, there's 2, 4, 6, 8 of them total. I would say, well, we definitely have to have one in each category.
Mm-hmm.
So
why is that?
Because
I think it makes it harder for us. It shouldn't be too easy.
Because then we would suck and just stack it everything. All right, so let's start with Iron Man 2. Her first performance came in under the guise of a different person, only to be revealed to be Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. Gentlemen, what are we thinking? How was her performance?
So, all right. So you guys are approaching it like, all right. So I think of it as like, what was the impact of her character overall in this movie? Basically, is how I'm approaching it, and then also how good the movie is ties into that too.
I would say that part less though.
Yeah. Oh man. Well,
Yeah,
I
this
love
is
her.
tough.
I love her in this movie because she's a smart ass. She literally goes toe to toe with Tony Stark multiple times.
Like as far as with her wits.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
This-
tough because if we're saying we have to, there has to be one in every category. I don't know, man.
this is a D.
D.
If that's the case. D.
What?
Yeah,
It's either that one or the next one goes in D.
because none of the other ones are going to be D for me. So
Really? I would have put Age of Ultron in D before I put this one.
nah.
Well, because Age of Ultron is the first time she opens up about what she had to
Like,
go
actually
through
has
in the
character
Red Room
development.
and whatnot. Even though that relationship is so forced between her and Banner, it's still like, as far as character arc goes, and but we'll stick with Iron Man 2 for now.
All right,
Um,
so are all
For the
three
sake
of
of the
you
rule,
D?
I'm going D.
D.
Iron Man 2?
Yeah,
all
if we're
three?
saying we have to do one in D, I would say D.
You guys suck.
Hey, I don't make the rules, so
All right, I'm gonna hit back hard on some of these. All right, Avengers, plain old Avengers.
So
where-
Rachel, really quick with Rachel's last comment, we're not saying her performance was bad. I think it's just the
movie.
overall. Yeah,
I think
The
you guys
movie's
are
a bit of a mess. They didn't have a script for a lot of it. Characters are talking over each other. It's a little bit of a mess.
like as
And
far as
so-
her performances, they're
she's
good
great in
to,
it. Yeah,
good to
She's
great
good.
in all of them.
yeah. And even
Rachel, I'm
then,
with you. I'm with
fight
you,
scene is
Rachel.
cool.
I would have put her at B. Put that movie at B with her because she's fantastic in that one. But I got outvoted 3-1. All right, Avengers, gentlemen.
Age of Ultron.
No, this is just flat out.
Oh,
Avengers.
first Avengers.
First one,
Oh,
yeah.
I'll go C.
see,
It's that interaction with Loki that I put it over Iron Man 2. Just that
that's
alone.
very good.
We first hear the name Dreykov.
Dreykov's daughter. Yep.
Dreykov's daughter.
Sao
Honestly,
Paulo.
To be
Sao
fair, like
Paulo hospital fire.
I put this in A.
what?
In A. Yep.
No.
Well, explain.
Yeah, go ahead with your
Well,
nonsense.
Avengers is one of the greatest comic movies ever made, top 5. And she's a badass in this movie. She's like, again, no superpowers. She's floating up. She figures out a way to get up there. She knocks the dude off the thing and gets onto one of those things. She's amazing in this movie. Like
Yeah,
she,
good.
and then her and Hawkeye, the conversation after Hawkeye comes out from the brainwash, and then obviously the Loki conversation and the opening scene with her is amazing. So I'm okay it not being an A, but the whole point is like my A might drag it up a little bit.
I'm putting it at no higher than a C, probably.
I don't know. I mean,
Okay, if you all three say C, then I'm
Well, what does Keith say?
I said C.
C.
yeah,
well,
no, that's
Jacob
fine.
says A, so
Well,
Yeah,
what did
we-
Brian
Well, if
say?
we're going
for-
off of that logic, then my Iron
well,
Man
no,
2 should drop
Brian's
to C.
yes, because we all said D, and then Brian said like B. So I'm okay with the C. Like I'll take that L.
All right.
Not to mix up things up to use another letter, but I'll take that
Captain
L.
America: The Winter Soldier.
S.
S.
I think we.
I mean,
Jacob?
go ahead, Keith. Take it, Keith.
Well, the reason I will, but well, let me go ahead. Yeah, because Jacob's the one that doesn't revere this movie like with the rest of us.
Break it down.
But I will say that you guys mentioned her character growth in Age of Ultron. It starts in Winter Soldier. Like this is the first time we start to see her show actually a little bit of like she cared. So we see the growth the beginnings of her relationship, friendship, was between her and Steve. You see them actually hear conversations between the two of them where they actually are starting to get to know each other. We get the great line where, the great conversation where they're in the truck on their way to the Shield place, and was that the first kiss you've had since 1945, and all that stuff was really fun back and forth between the two of them. And then they had a great conversation later on at Sam's place, which is one of my favorites in back and forth in the whole MCU, where she says to Cap, you're pretty chipper for, or she mentions how, I thought I knew who I was working for all these years. I guess I just traded in the KGB for Hydra, and you really get to see her. While she really actually does have some showing regret.
By the way, it's for sure S, 100% S.
Okay. Yeah. I just really loved the beginning of her growth, and it carries over obviously in Winter Soldier, and then we see more of it in Civil War. And I love the relationship with her and Steve Rogers, and it starts in this movie. I think this movie is superior, so definitely yes.
By the way, the most unnatural pose in the history of anything.
Yeah, it's a silly.
I literally despise.
And me too. Very silly. Very silly. But that engine room fight on the boat in the beginning, she beats up those guys in the engine room. Oh, awesome. So good.
All right, Avengers: Age of Ultron. I mean,
I vote B.
Okay, I was gonna say C.
I'm floating between C and D, to be honest.
Yeah.
So either one of those for me.
Only reason I'm kind of thinking C is just how much the sun's going down, big guy, has been used.
Yeah.
But I mean, that also. But I would have also put this at a B. So.
Well, we do get a reveal. Oh no, Gio, what do you got before I say anything?
I'm fine with, by the way, C or D on this one.
I'd go B.
Really?
Okay. Well, this is gonna be tough.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider the fact that she, so she opens up to Banner.
Yeah.
About her backstory. She kicks ass in this movie as she does in any movie. She's as good as she is in any movie. But then we actually get to see via flashback from Wanda, her in the Red Room getting trained. She is the key to Banner turning into the Hulk and getting out of the Hulk. The boss move that she does where she kisses Banner and then pushes him. And it's like, no time for games. I need the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so
I go to the conversation between her and Bruce in the bedroom at Hawkeye's house.
Bruce Wayne.
That was the first time we learned a lot about her in that conversation, and that's kind of what I go to. But so Jill and I said B, you guys both said C.
I mean, Keith, I'm fine with C or D personally.
I'm between C and D, to be honest. I'm kind of.
All right, then I think it has to be a C.
You want to put it at C, then that's fine.
Okay, so then if we're putting at C, are we putting it behind or in front of Avengers? My vote's behind.
Behind if you were considering it for D.
No, I'm saying C. If we're putting her at C, is it better or worse than Avengers?
I would just say Avengers is better than...
So do you think it would be first, second?
Behind Avengers, in my opinion.
This way for me. Gio?
Okay.
Fair? Okay. Captain America Civil War. She takes the side of Tony Stark and Iron Man, only to betray and go to Captain America's side at the end.
See, here's the thing to me, this movie is better than Age of Ultron and it's better than Iron Man 2 for me, but her impact on it is not like, I think she has way more story and character development in Age of Ultron than she does in this. So where do we toe that line? Like, I don't know. So, but I also I think I would go probably B with this.
I would agree with you.
I'm A or B, but I think that her interaction with T'Challa at the beginning, if she's at the UN,
Ooh, yeah,
I think that's a huge part of her, and she's kind of the liaison.
Man, she knows everybody, huh? Like she already knew T'Challa.
She met like every character.
She went up there and met him. Like after everything that happened, and her being a wanted woman for all these years, and she went face to music.
I guess she actually isn't very important in this movie. She's the one who turns sides.
Yes, yeah. and then she turned on T'Challa later on, which is kind of sets up the Black Widow movie as well a little bit.
I mean, I'm okay with I go B for this.
I'm fine with B.
Yeah, you guys convinced me.
For me, I'm kind of between A and B. I'll be honest. She has a moment, I think might be my favorite moment of hers in the MCU, where at Peggy's funeral, and Steve was kind of sitting.
Oh yeah.
Where Steve was in the cathedral by himself, and she's trying to.
He says, "I didn't want you to be alone." He's like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "I didn't want you to be alone."
He thinks that she's trying to convince him to sign the Accords, and she's like, "I know you're not going to sign." And so what are you doing here? I just didn't want you to be alone. That is a culmination of her growth, in my opinion. Other than her sacrificing herself.
So Keith, you sound like you want A.
I'm kind of leaning towards A, but we don't have a B yet.
Gio, were you leaning C?
No, I mean, honestly, through conversation, you guys reminded me of how much of an impact she did have on Civil War. I mean, she's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. She literally surprises Tony Stark by taking his side.
Right.
And saying, she's reading the terrain and it's time for us to do something. But then as the movie goes on, as the story progresses, as characters start making decisions that are questionable, she again is reading the terrain and decides to do the right thing. So
now you guys are starting to push me towards A.
I'll go B.
Jacob, what are you?
Well, I was B from the beginning. I'm still sticking to B.
Yeah.
B.
I think I'm leaning towards A, but it sounds like it's going to be B. So I'm between. That's fine. Yeah.
All right, we'll put it at B for right now. Let's see.
Yeah.
Like to me, anything B and above is just excellent. So I'm okay with that.
Avengers: Infinity War for me.
S.
A.
S.
Oh.
S.
Really?
Yes. Infinity War. What are we talking about here?
So my problem is she's barely in it.
But
I guess you could say that about most of the characters.
Well, yeah.
But
when her and Cap show up to help out Wanda and Vision, that's such a hero, huh? She's got such a hero. Yeah. Oh goodness, come on.
I just think she's not. Look, nothing to like. Every scene she's in is great, but I don't think she's in it enough.
I mean, doesn't have scene at the end.
Outside of the scene at the end, right? She fights the lady.
She kills. Well, she doesn't kill her, but helps kill Proxima Midnight.
Think about how
she
much
stabs
she's in Endgame and how much she's in this, right? She's a straight up main character in Endgame, from the beginning to the end. Obviously, this she's like a supporting role.
See, to me, I like her better in Infinity War than I do in Endgame.
That's insane. And I think Infinity War is a way better movie than Endgame, but I think her impact in Endgame is way more, but we'll talk about that in a second.
I mean, these two kind of go hand in hand, so we can kind of...
Sure.
I mean...
Well, no, because I think she's very... Like I said, she's barely in Infinity War.
So, okay, but are we ranking... So what are we talking about? Just the movie or just what she does in the movie?
Well,
I mean, you
Sometimes
have to take
impact
both
the
into account and how that
Yeah.
impacts. Like, does
Okay, what
I
are you
know.
thinking, Gio? What are you thinking for Infinity War?
I was gonna say B.
Oh God.
Nobody's
What did I
nobody's
say
saying
for
it's
this?
not a great movie. It's a
No,
great
no, why?
movie. It's a cool moment that she gets to kill Midnight, whatever. That's cool. But like, how does her character like serve the story? What arc does she have in the movie? How does her presence in this movie develop her character? I mean,
And that's
it's
not
no.
her fault.
it's
I
tough
don't know if
because
that needed to.
Think about this. If you take her out of the movie, and I hate to say this, if you take her out, it doesn't change much at all. If you take her out of the movie.
Mm,
she reunites with Banner. That's a nice moment, I guess. And then she
So
fights.
what are we debating here? A or B?
I would say A. For
I
me.
said S. To me,
Oh,
it was
said
really
S.
S or A. 'Cause I
Okay,
said
so
S.
Brian says A.
They're
I
not.
say B. Keith says S.
Keith, there's no way that they're gonna budge on putting it as S.
Yeah.
So Gio,
No,
what was your
I-
initial instinct for this?
I mean,
Gio's the- no.
what
Hmm.
about the movie makes it as good as Winter Soldier and her portrayal in that movie? And
Well, I have it as A,
well, A too. Like
just because she's a freaking badass in that movie. She's
badass in every movie.
she fights in some of the best fight scenes and choreographed. When she fights them in the train station, that's one of my favorite fight scenes of all time. And then, I mean, she basically almost kills two of the Black Order. She stabs Corvus Glaive, basically
But to
almost killing
me,
him.
her impact in Civil War is way bigger than it is in this movie.
Well, then you should have said something higher than B.
Well, I would put it behind Civil War and B.
So Keith says S. Jacob, you say B.
Mm-hmm.
I say A.
A. I go B. So I think because of the S and the A, instead of
I'm
two
not-
A's.
What does 8, 8, 9, and 10 average out to? I don't know.
Because I'm not worried about impact. Because you're talking about impact. There's 40 people in this movie. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you have to look like
Star-Lord's what's Star-Lord's impact? Like,
So it's A.
what's Spider-Man's
But
impact?
we're
Like,
but
there's-
we're only talking about Black Widow here, so we don't. Like,
but I'm saying like
I know,
what's
but at that
Keith's saying
point,
is
my
outside
whole
of
point is there's so many people in this movie.
yeah,
I'm
outside
I'm
of
looking
Tony
at the
Stark.
movie. And Thor, there's 50 people in
well,
this movie. We
Doctor
got.
Strange has a much bigger role. Like Spider-Man has a bigger role.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that there's so much. And if you're right, we're talking about Black Widow, but to me, I'm just looking at the movie because there's so many people in it. It's trying to dice up who has trying to rank, and there's people that have more to do than others. I agree.
So then you want to
Look-
skip this one and go to these two?
Well, no, I think Infinity
come
War
back to
goes
it?
in A because
Well,
of the
I think
S.
what's fair is the average. So, like I said,
Average.
let's just say
Only
if we
for
did.
me, it's my top two. Those are my top two MCU movies: are Winter Soldier and Infinity War.
So that's the thing, though. This is why this is tough because we're not ranking the movies.
Yeah, but that's still
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
We
choice.
kinda
though, to
are,
put
though.
it at S.
Yeah. So
So
the thing
if-
is, I don't think it can make it to S because it has two B's and an A, so it has to go in A. It averages
We
out
need
to
an A.
A. High
It
A.
kind of sounds like it. Yeah, it kind of sounds like
Yeah.
it.
Endgame.
Probably should be.
I say S. Look at the way she's leading the Avengers at the beginning. That conversation with her and Steve, and her tears in her when she's eating that sandwich, and then obviously she sacrifices herself. Like,
That's an S for me. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd go S.
Okay. Before or after Winter Soldier?
Oof.
that's
Fuck.
tough.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, you guys. I mean, Keith and Gio definitely like Winter Soldier more than Endgame. I think. Actually, I don't know, but
Yeah, I think Winter Soldier is the better movie. Endgame
I think ahead of Winter Soldier because what she does is too important in Endgame. Like,
listen, I had tears in my eyes.
What'd you say? Sorry, I laughed and interrupted you.
But I'll tell you, I had tears in my eyes when she looks up at Hawkeye and says, "Let me go."
Yeah.
Ugh.
man, now I'm getting chills, Keith.
All right, so are we putting it as number here?
Yeah, probably. Just for me personally, whatever you guys, either one's fine with me.
I don't know. I mean, her arc in Winter Soldier was really big. I mean, she followed orders to the T.
I mean, she's the co-lead of that movie.
And then for her to, discover, along with Cap, through Armin Zola, that Hydra has been around and has been behind this whole thing. And then later on in the movie, when, she does the reveal that nobody saw coming
that was
to
awesome.
Robert Redford.
Gio, you make a very good point. She is basically the co-lead, and she does.
Yeah, but none of that is as important as what she does in Endgame. None of that.
Well, no, because if she doesn't do any of that stuff,
as far as the fate of the world, sure, but
it starts in Winter Soldier, though. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. That's fine. We can do that. I mean, honestly, it's Sophie's choice when it comes to her character arc and the movie itself. It's Sophie's choice, honestly.
Either one. That's why I say either spot's fine with me.
Because you guys know, one of my highlights was one of my major highlights, and it's still like something as far as all the MCU movies together, like the moment where Hawkeye and Black Widow are fighting over who gets to make the sacrifice. Right. And the moment that they share right before they fight, where they put their foreheads together, and it's just like they both know what's coming, what's about to happen, and it's just it's the battle to the end. It's, I don't know, the duel of fates, whatever. So
sure.
Okay, fine. We'll leave it as is. Black Widow.
This one's tough because I've been arguing impact of movie the whole time, and it's literally her.
Honestly, I would be fine with this as a B.
I was gonna say B. That's what I was gonna say. I'd put it at B. Personally, but whatever.
I'm torn between A and B.
I don't know that I'd put it ahead of Civil War.
I mean, not as a movie, of course not.
Because I feel like the reveal with the whole, like, the family's fake and all that kind of stuff, I feel like it impacted Yelena more than it did Natasha. Because Natasha had a family in the Avengers.
First of all, you know what I just wrote? We didn't talk about the vest that she gets from Yelena and she's wearing in Infinity War. So cool, by the way.
Lots of pockets. That was really funny. I didn't even realize that until she put it on in the end and she had the blonde hair. And I went, oh, yeah, that is that vest she was wearing.
Like, it's so tough. I'm okay.
Rachel, we don't even know at this point.
Rachel,
we don't know. That's the thing. We don't know.
No. It's kind of both because, like, something could be working in its favor to make it an S, but then the movie's impact could
move it up or move it. Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking at it as impact and overall performance of the character.
Like, for example, the only reason Iron Man 2 is in D is because the movie's not that good. Like, she's good in it.
And she impacted that. She's the one that hacked in the Rhodey suit and allowed him to, So
like, honestly, I'm torn on A and B. Like, I'm okay if this ends up in B. Like,
Gio.
Honestly.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
I'm behind Civil War.
Okay.
I'm thinking. Hold on. I'm gonna go B.
Okay. Yeah. Are we all in favor of it being behind Civil War or in front?
Yeah, I would put it behind, personally. Jacob?
I would put it in front, but I think you guys all
Hmm.
think behind. So
Well, I'm behind. Keith's behind. Geo and it's literally your.
I
Be
mean-
honest. Be honest.
No, damn. Let me answer.
I was actually saying it more to Jacob than I was you.
No, I was gonna say behind only because Yelena takes up so much of the spotlight and she's so damn good that sometimes it feels like this movie is happening because of her character and what they want to set up in the future. So I'm gonna go behind because
I'm
I
okay
think
with
I see what.
because I think-
and I see what.
I-
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think her decisions of largely affect more in Civil War than it does
Yeah.
in Black Widow.
I think. Yeah. This is like a side adventure that she's something like I said.
well,
she
that's
got
the thing.
into
Like all her decisions were like impacted. Obviously, the biggest
world.
impact. Well, obviously, it impacts the world because the Red Room and all that stuff. But like, it's more. It's not like
the MCU world.
yeah, it's not like Civil War or like Infinity War Endgame stakes. You know.
And Rachel, thank God he's not here because this would have been a much more heated debate between these movies. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is our shaky rankings of Black Widow. We have in the D tier, which is preposterous, Iron Man 2. In the C, we have Avengers, the original, and Avengers Age of Ultron. In the B category, we have Captain America Civil War and Black Widow. In the A category, we have Avengers Infinity War. And in our top two spots, we have Captain America Winter Soldier, and our number one ranked, which is Avengers Endgame. Yay, we did it. Barely.
Well done.
We did it. How many movies is that for ScarJo? 2, 4, 6, 8?
It is
Pretty
8.
good.
So yes.
She is the highest grossing female actor of all time.
That's fair.
Just because she's in all these movies.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Will Black Widow be back in the MCU? Natasha Romanoff be back in the MCU?
in some capacity, I say yes.
Not in any timeline past Endgame. Like,
I agree.
so for example, Tony Stark could have popped up in Black Widow, right? But that doesn't mean he's back and he's alive. She could pop up in the prequel stuff, but nothing past Endgame. I don't think so. I think her and Tony stay dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still slightly suspect of Vormir. I will forever probably be suspect of Vormir. So Gamora and her.
Oh, like you think they're stuck in the soul dimension or something?
It's just very suspect to me. It's still very shady. The fact that
like Tony physically died. We saw it, right?
Like that guy's dead. He got burnt to a
Who
crisp.
knows when they fall, they could transport to the soul.
Just the
stone
fact
or whatever,
that,
yeah.
like, what was the purpose of the soul stone? That's always been my thing.
And if you think about it, how does the person standing on top of the cliff and they wake up in the water? Like, what's going on, right? So
That's always
it's
been my
possible
thing.
that they don't die.
That's always been my thing. What was the purpose of the soul stone? Every single one did something. There was zero purpose to the soul stone. That's always been my thing. But anyways, that is going to do it for our Apocaflix Now episode, Black Widow themed. Before we go, again, happiest of birthdays to you, Rachel, our 6th member of Apocaflix.
Happy birthday.
I wish
love
I had
you.
Rachel's drop on here.
Yes, we love you so much and appreciate you more than you know. But for Apocaflix,
Yes.
well, actually, before, come check us out tomorrow, Marvel Rewind, 7:30 p.m. We are going to be finishing Loki, the last episode of our Marvel Rewind. Well, we might do a recap of the whole thing, but come check it out tomorrow, 7:30. p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And as always, check out Friday when we cover The Bad Batch on the Fandalorian Club. And that will be at 4 o'clock on Friday. So for Apocaflix Movies, I'm Brian. That is Gio. That is Keith. That is Jacob. We will see you guys next time. Have a fantastic rest of your week.